So as I kind of said earlier, well, I'm Eva Clark. I have a little a page called Healing Multiple Sclerosis, and all of our meetings, any presentations we do, I do, or somebody we bring in, we have them there. So if anybody wants to check them out. And this was actually brought, kind of inspired me two things, because someone was talking about, where do I get resources? You know, if I want to apply for disability, what do? I don't even know how to start. And the second was, there's a company, a local company, and I think it is Lifespan, who wanted to come and do a presentation so that people would know, hey, we're available. And I thought, you know what, that's really important, that you know what resources you have. Because if you want to really get optimum results, if you want to have quality of life, you need to know what is your support system, who is on your team. One of the things that really influences health is the feeling that you've lost control, you're helpless, hopeless, and alone. And so actually having a strategy, having plan Bs, knowing who is there for you when you're having a bad moment is really important to have.
And you would say that would be Lifespan?
That is one of the local resources, for example, for helping out around the house and things that, you know, John talked to us about. But there's a lot of different resources out there for you. And one of them is the associations, and we'll talk about them in detail. Your medical team, MS support groups like this, because you have shared experiences and people have experiences that you're thinking about, and it's a good place to find out, you know, what is out there. You're going to have also resources that aren't your standard resources, but that cover a lot more of the basis of what else is going on and can be affecting your body and your mind and your life. And then who are your buddies? And we'll talk about these. And all of this forms your health team. And any successful company is going to have very strong departments and very strong teams. And so for this, you want a good team. Do you guys know that the National MS Society has what's called the Navigators? That you have any questions, any doubts, employment conflicts, wanting to get disability, issues or questions about insurance, issues or questions about, is this a symptom of MS? You just got diagnosed. They have what's called the Navigators, and they're professionals that are very well trained to give you information, education. They're there to support you when you have a bad day. They're there to help you find healthcare providers. They're there to walk you through insurance and what options are out there. They're there to help you when you have financial challenges. They also have wellness strategies, you know, they're there. They have education on different things they can do. They are really leaning on quality of life programs. When I was doing my own research and trying to get Stanford to do a pilot study of the research, and Stanford wanted to prove a symptom, and we were talking to the MS Society is like, I don't care about symptom. I want to know, is it going to give them quality of life? Because if it helps for the symptom, but they're miserable, we're not supporting that research. So that is really interesting to know that they're out there and they're concerned with those things. For example, right now, the research they're starting to do a lot more on is on wellness, on diet, on nutrition, on stem cell therapies. So it's good they're starting to see those areas. Another association is the MS Foundation. They are very strong on grants.
What's the status of stem cell right now?
I know that there's studies in Canada, but I don't know more. If you recall, one of the people that come sometimes to the meeting, she's doing stem cells.
I think that's what Selma Blair is doing. Something pretty hardcore.
And again, stem cell, there are different treatments. There's some that the theory is you wipe out your own immune system, which is the one that's giving you problems, and you incorporate a new immune system or start your immune system fresh because it hasn't picked up those issues. There is actually someone I met here locally with MS who did stem cells. And she said a lot of symptoms improved, but her initial symptoms are there. So she's always wearing an eye patch, cause that was one of her first symptoms, and that one has stayed. So,
Well, and it's also, since it's such a new technology, it's gonna be high risk.
exactly. Yeah, they don't know yet what the risks are. So the MS Foundation has a lot of grants. So the MS Society is actually the one who told me, when I asked about, well, what if someone has an issue with, paying for drugs? They go, oh, copay, go to MS Foundation. Well, that's interesting. Does anybody know that they actually have some assistance programs? They have assistance programs for home care. If you go to the hospital and you're thinking, now what, how do I get home? How do I get prepared? I'm still weak. They have emergency assistance where someone will be there for 4 hours, picking you up at the hospital, taking you home, accommodating you again, and getting you back, at home comfortably. They even have assistance for technology, for computers, for wheelchairs, for cold vests. So it's good to know what things are out there.
Yeah, and they do focus on uninsured individuals as far as the medical costs.
Yes,
Benefits stuff,
yes.
cause in the past I'm still paying off debt from that, so they weren't able to help me.
Yeah. Yep, so for a visit and a follow-up, if you're in between jobs and you're really needing one and you're like, what am I gonna do? They have assistance on that, they have grants. They even were talking about rent, not mortgage, but if you're in one of those stressful moments, there is help out there. There's also the MS Association of America. They also provide some accessories like the cooling accessory and stuff. They provide MRI funding. A lot of people talk, they're like, I need an MRI, but I can't qualify for it. If it's really necessary, because you can't afford it, because you need to have determined if you do have MS, or if it has progressed, they have funding for that. And then they have what's called the MS Manager app. It's a good way to track how you're doing, because we always think, oh, I don't know if it's progressed. Well, if you have a way to kind of check the activity, store health information, have reports, how am I doing, you can actually compare, wow, I do worse in June, and I do worse in Thanksgiving. There's a correlation there. And be able to track those. And then, I don't know if you guys have heard of the CanDoMS. It used to be called the Jimmy Huga Center for Multiple Sclerosis. What I like about his work and the CanDoMS is they're all about whole person health. So they're not just looking at the physical health, but also psychological. And I actually saw that they had some webinars on cannabinoids. Like, well, that's modern, and gut health, leaky gut. It's like, okay, they're getting there. Good.
I
And
went to Jimmy Huga about 20 years ago for a week. It's a terrific thing if anybody wants to go to it, or has a chance to go to it.
Yeah, and they have these, now it's 2-day programs to, get you, again, also doing this kind of work, figuring out what are my resources, what's my health team, what am I going to do for myself.
Because they had, when I was there, they had like 20 people with MS and about 30 caregivers helping them. Just not only doctors, the top doctors and everything, and neurology and neurology and everything. Jimmy Huga was a guy who was the first American to win a medal in the Olympics. It was downhill skiing. He won in 1960 at Lake Tahoe, and then came down with MS shortly after that.
Yeah. And then I put this one up, the Rocky Mountain MS Center, because they have a lot of magazines and newsletters things, and they're constantly updating what is the current research. So with the questions on stem cell, you can probably get a lot of that information. What is the current research happening through them? And for people recently diagnosed, they have a 4-hour course called MS 101, which really gives you a lot of information that your doctor in the 15 minutes meeting can't provide for you. Along with the associations, you need to think about your medical team, your doctors. Because if you think about it, if you are a company, or you're a team, or a project manager, and your expert or your consultant on your team is like, this ain't gonna work, you might as well get used to the fact that we're gonna fail, there's no options for us. Is that the consultant you want on your team? Is that gonna make your team, figure it out, do things that are proactive, and find solutions? Well, if your medical team, if your doctor is very negative, is saying there's nothing you can do, you just gotta get used to it, you might wanna search for a different doctor. And so, if their bedside manners aren't what they need to be to help you stay centered and figuring things out and doing things that are gonna help you, think about getting a new team. And us, right? I love quotes, and this is the only quote I could find, but I thought it was kind of cute. The proliferation of support groups suggests that many of us are growing up in homes that don't contain a grandmother. A support team is like a grandmother. No judgment, a lot of advice, and you feel heard. And what I mentioned at the beginning, who else is on your team? There's a lot that has gone on in your body, and there's a lot that you can do. If you only focus on one medical team and one doctor, they're gonna give you what they have available. But there's so many other things that you can do that help your body feel safe, healthy, energized, and help your mind mentally stay on gear, stay motivated. And, as mentioned, if you're thinking, my life is over, which is a lot of times what you're thinking prior to the diagnosis, because it's an accident, you just got fired, and it's like, interesting, it happens right after those moments, then we think, oh my gosh, my life is over. You want to have a good team that is helping you through those moments so you don't go there, mentally and physically.
What were you saying, would be a good resource for nutrition, gut health stuff? Like, what would be good for that? I'm sorry.
So those are the things that you would need to research. On the Healing Multiple Sclerosis, we've interviewed several nutritionists, and they've given us several books.
And that's on your site?
Oh, but
Yeah.
you said CanDoMS also was.
CanDoMS also had some webinars.
So it's just www.healms.
HealingMultipleSclerosis.com. At the top, there's a Creating Health. And so we've brought local nutritionists, functional medical doctors, and there's also books on MS, and I think there's some also on the different.
Yeah, I got one of those that lady just taught.
And again, one of our nutritionists, I think a couple months ago, came in, she said, just like the drugs, there are many different protocols. You need to test it. Am I feeling better and more energized, or am I miserable and totally stressed because of the recipes I'm required to take? And ultimately, who is your support buddy? You don't need to have your whole family on board, but you need to have that one person or that few people in your life, a friend, a neighbor, your aunt, your sister, someone in your life that when you're down, they're there for you. Someone you don't feel like you have to take care of. Oh, I can't tell her that because then she's gonna stress, and then who is that person that you that you're free to say, I feel crummy, and they're like, let's go watch a movie, or they just hear you out. You want to put it on a speed dial, you want to have it there. And you want to think about it and have it ready for when you have bad moments. Because everybody has them. And you need those. my own little personal quote since I couldn't find one. But if you strive to make a big change that others haven't made, you know, and be it MS, be it a project, be it a dream, you're gonna have to make greater steps than other people have. And I remember one of the people I interviewed that had, you know, reversed her MS, what she was saying was, you know what, everyone talks about it. Oh, I wanna heal this, I wanna, you know, cure this. She goes, but no one takes the steps. Thinks, yeah, this again, I'm a medical hypnotherapist, so I'm all about the strength of the mind and how it actually leads the body. And if you believe you can, if you've got your resources, if you're deciding this is what I'm going to do, this is what supports me through my process, you're halfway there. Thank you.
Was that you in that last picture?
No.
Kind of looked like it could be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just came with one of the one thing I would love to see us get help with is being on, Sylvia and I were talking, like, I mean, I've had times where like a social worker will have a tip on like a waiting list that's opening up for a housing, low-income housing situation, like at La Posada, they have a waiting list there, and just like for us to know when those are coming open is great, because then we can go sign up.
Yeah, so at least locally,
Yeah.
we have done like a share of the emails.
Okay.
As well, there's a Facebook group that I think if you put multiple sclerosis self-help SC,
Okay.
we're there. If
Okay.
not,
and you join it.
Yes,
I
and it's
see.
private, so no one sees you in it and everything.